Hi everyone, welcome to Making Things with String. My name is Kate, my pronouns are she, her, and this is my crafty YouTube channel where I talk about all of the things I like to make with string. Today I've got a lot of cross-stitch content for you, as well as a bit of knitting if I have time. It's been kind of a big month because this month my mom and I traveled to Brampton, Ontario for Stitch North. We went to weekend one of Stitch North. So I'm going to spend a lot of this video, or some of it at least, talking about Stitch North and how it was, because that was my first in-person retreat. So I'll talk about that kind of experience. I'll also talk about the stuff that I acquired over the course of the weekend. So we received swag bags, as well as I was gifted some things and I purchased some things. So I'll talk about that later in the video. I'm going to do sort of a regular Flosstube update of the stuff that I've stitched since the last video first, in case that is your primary interest for watching this video. And then after all of that, if I'm still feeling up to it, we'll talk about the knitting that I have done, because if you've been following my videos, you know that I'm taking part in Sock Madness, which is like a sock knitting contest going on right now on Ravelry, and I've done a bit of knitting for that, so we'll talk about that hopefully as well in this video. And I will have timestamps throughout the video that are labeled, so if you want to skip around and check out the stuff that you're interested in, you should be able to easily do that as well. All right, so let's do a bit of a summary of the stitching that I've accomplished since my last update, which was at the end of March, I believe on March 30th. The first thing I want to show you is a little finish that I have done. So again, if you've been following along with my Flosstubes, you'll know that I have been taking part in Stitch for Pride this year, which is a year-long stitch-along put on by D's 20 Stitches. Every month we get a new small cross-stitch pattern accompanied by some information and learning. Each month is inspired by a different LGBTQ artist. So this month I have finished this little piece. So this is the April stitching. This piece is inspired by the Kiss and Tell collective, which is like a West Coast Canadian collective of artists from the late 80s. This piece is inspired by their art exhibition called Drawing the Line, which sort of promoted positive portrayals of queer love, and it was like this really interesting interactive art piece exhibit that they put on. So this is supposed to represent sort of two Polaroid photos. When I first started stitching the pattern, I thought, this was sort of upright hearts and these were inverted hearts. But after I started stitching them, I realized those bottom pieces are not just inverted hearts. They look a little like boobies, representing that sort of empowerment of, lesbian love. So the words here say, "Where do you draw the line?" And that again refers to that exhibit that the collective did, entitled Drawing the Line. So this is a really cute little piece to stitch. I stitched it up just in the past couple days, actually. I didn't have a whole lot of time before now in April to finish this piece, so it was pretty quick to stitch up. I am stitching this on a 36 count piece of linen from the sewingshop.ca. This is avocado toast, and I stitched this with Roxy Floss Co. Pink 182, which you'll see is actually some floss that I got at Stitch North in our swag bag, and it was perfect for this April piece. So it was a very serendipitous that I hadn't stitched it yet before attending Stitch North, because I've been stitching these, as you might know, I've been stitching these Stitch for Pride pieces just with the DMC, whatever called for DMC was presented in the pattern. But this variegated pink 182 is great, and I used one strand of pink 182 over 2 fabric threads on this 36 count fabric. So yes, love this cute little piece. It turned out really quick, stitched up quickly, and was fun. I really like the lettering, the backstitched lettering on this. Where do you draw the line? So that's my start and finish. Again, if you haven't been here before, I'm planning on finishing these pieces individually. You can stitch them into a spot sampler altogether, but I'm stitching them individually, and I'm planning to learn to do like a drawn thread hem stitch to finish these pieces, and I'll sort of use them as a bit of a calendar in years to come, where I'll swap them out month to month, maybe in my office at work. Yeah, so I love this, and I'm keeping up on this stitch along. Really enjoying these little patterns, really enjoying the learning portion as well, because it's really interesting to learn about all these different LGBTQ artists month to month. So next up, let's take a look at my progress on Needs No Paint. This is a full coverage chart by Heaven and Earth Designs. The art is by Jill Clare, and this is a piece that I have been working on for quite some time, I think since 2021 sometime. And this year I'm trying to finish this piece. So my goal is to stitch around 4,600 stitches every month on this. So I will give you a look at some footage or photographs of where this was the last time you saw it. In my last video, I had 50.09% complete on this. So I cracked that 50% mark. It had 41,969 stitches done. Now, here's what it's looking like. I've had to reposition the Q-snap probably since you last saw it, but here's where we are. Currently, I'm at 54.63% complete, or 45,774 stitches. So that's a total of 3,805 stitches so far this month. And I did that over a total of 9 stitching days. Now, like I said, my goal for this is 4,600 stitches. So it's only April 29th today. I'm going to continue stitching on this month and try to get up to the 4,600. This morning, I started working up here on this little tail feather. So this is going to come down and connect to the body down here. So I decided to start making that connection this morning. But yeah, I don't think that I will have too much trouble getting up to the 4,600 stitches before the end of the month, especially because if I do need to, there's a whole bunch of sort of block stitching of this color here that goes down into the body. So if I need to, I can get some really quick stitching done there. But yeah, I'm gonna continue working on that for the next couple of days and try to get my stitching on this up to my goal But yeah, I didn't have as much stitching time this month on this piece, just because I actually knit 2 pairs of Sock Madness socks this month. And when that's happening, I'm not doing any cross stitching. And on top of that, I went to Stitch North, and I did not bring this piece with me to Stitch North, as it does require me, the way that I stitch it requires me to have my entire collection of DMC floss with me. So I wasn't going to bring all of that on the airplane with me. I'll show you the pieces that I did bring with me to Stitch North. But yeah, this one stayed home. So I was trying to catch up on that last couple days of April, and hopefully we will get to our goal for Needs No Paint. I've actually realized as well, since I repositioned this, I don't know if you're able to see it very well in the camera here, but this fabric is actually quite dirty along the bottom. You'll notice that I don't have a grime guard, and it's actually not something that I remembered to look for at Stitch North. But yes, my fabric has gotten a little bit dirty in sections. So before I moved down to stitch this bottom portion of the chart, I am going to wash this again. It will be the second time that I've washed it since I started working on this piece. But I do need to try and like clean up this fabric because even though this is full coverage, the vast majority of the piece is full coverage, it's not full coverage. So the background, like these areas here, behind the strands of hair and such, are not stitched. And so down here, not all of it will be fully stitched over, and the background of the piece is going to be visible a bit. So I need to try and clean that up. So fingers crossed that goes really well. We'll see. I'll keep you updated for sure. So next up, I would like to show you my progress on Toy Shop, which is a dimensions kit that I'm stitching. I am stitching this as a part of the hashtag Hello Dimensions Sal that is being hosted by Hello from Liz Matthews. That Sal is actually for the coffee shop dimensions chart, but I didn't own that chart, while I did own this Toy Shop chart. So I'm just stitching Toy Shop instead of coffee shop, trying to follow along as best I can with the Hello from Liz Matthews stitch along, which she is doing. You know, she's kind of assigning different parts of the chart every couple weeks, and so I am applying that to this chart as closely as possible, which is working out pretty well because they're fairly similar charts with similar components. So I will show you some footage of what this looked like last time that you saw it. Since then, I have worked on this piece for 4 stitching days, one of which was at Stitch North. And here's what it currently looks like. So some pretty good progress on this. I have kind of filled in the toys, gifts, and games section, and I've done the back stitching on that as well, so it looks really good and crisp. And in real life, it's very sparkly as well because there is some metallic thread in there. And yeah, you can see this is how far we've gotten. So this is one of the cross stitch pieces that I did bring with me to Stitch North, and I stitched on this piece on Sunday, on the last day, which was the shortest day, so I had the least amount of time dedicated to this during Stitch North. But like I said, I also worked on it a few other days in this month. So this is a piece, one of the pieces that I'm really hoping to get finished pretty quickly, pretty soon here. It's getting there, but it is full coverage with a lot of back stitch on top of all of this stitching. So it's not like super close to being done yet. But this is my progress on Toy Shop. I'm just using all of the kit materials for this, including the Ada, including the needle, and stitching it exactly the way that it's called for. So yeah, that's what it's looking like. That's Toy Shop. All right, next up, I would like to show you some progress on my 2 Quaker Sisters samplers piece. This is a pattern by Modern Folk Embroidery. I previously completed 1/2 of this pattern, so one of the 2 Quaker Sister samplers, but I started the second one on New Year's Eve this year during 12 by 12. And I spent 1 day stitching on this piece at Stitch North. So here's what it looked like the last time that you might have seen it. And this is how much I got done at Stitch North. Ooh, so here it is. So I got this little snowflake motif, this little baby motif up here. I stitched this bird. Most of this flower motif down here, and I started this little bunny rabbit over here. So yeah, not bad. This was what I stitched on Friday at Stitch North. So that is the progress on my second Quaker Sister sampler. This is being stitched on a 32 count Roxy Floss Co. fabric. It's called Under the Shade, I believe. Not sure if it's still being dyed by them, but it's a really beautiful sort of deep green fabric. So 32 count. I am stitching it 2/2 with Roxy Floss Co. floss as well. We're using Caramel Mustard and Butterscotch are the colors. So that's the progress that I made at Stitch North on Friday. Pretty happy with that. This is another piece that I would really like to get finished soon this year, kind of before starting any new things. As you may not be surprised to learn, I got some new patterns and new kitted up patterns in particular at Stitch North, and I'm sort of feeling the urge to start some new things. But while I'm not a monogamous stitcher, I'm definitely more comfortable with fewer whips. So I'm trying to finish some things before I let myself get started on some of those new things. This is a really awesome piece. Again, I've got the first of the 2 samplers completed. Here it is. And I would love to have these both framed up and actually put on this wall with my my Modern Folk Embroidery Reaching Skyward piece, which was the 2023 stitch along that Modern Folk Embroidery did that I completed last year. So it's also in some like greens and golds, and I think that all of these pieces together on this wall behind my TV in my basement would look really good. See, it matches my green and gold painting over here. I think it would look great. And then I'd have some stuff on the wall back here. So that's the plan with these guys. What else do I need to say? I stitched on this 1 day at Stitch North. Yeah, that's it. That's it for this piece. All right, so my last work in progress for today for cross stitch is the Black Butterfly Sampler by Shaded Stitchery. This is another project that I brought with me to Stitch North to work on. And yeah, this is just a lovely piece. It's only got 2 colors of thread, so a very easy travel piece. It's one that I often bring with me kind of in my bag, so I take it to work or wherever, and I stitch on it when I have some downtime. Last time that you saw it, here's what it looked like. I've got some footage hopefully, or at least a photo of what it looked like last time. I actually did work on this in March, but in my March video I forgot to show it. I only worked on it for one day in March though. And I have worked on it 3 additional days in April, so 2 random days in April, as well as 1 day during Stitch North. So I stitched on this on Saturday at Stitch North. And here's what it looks like. Now I've got a hanging thread because I was working on it at work today for a little bit during my lunch. But here is what it is looking like. So I have finished all of the butterflies. I've finished most of this side of the chart. You can see down at the bottom there's a little back stitching around the border that I still need to do. But basically this half of the chart is done. I just need to do this sampler side of the chart. And stitching these letters is really, really fun so far. It's a really, really great alphabet, really big chunky letters. And it's great so far. So this fabric is called Wise Wolf. It's a 25 count Lugana, and the colorway is called Wise Wolf. I'm not entirely sure of the dyer since that was not labeled. I bought this at the Stitch Bug, which is a local needlework shop in Moncton, New Brunswick that I frequent quite a lot. I'm actually from Halifax, but I drive through Moncton a lot and stop at Stitch Bug when I do that. The threads that I'm using are General Art Blackboard. That's what the letters are being done in. And the flowers down at the bottom are also Blackboard. The butterflies themselves are being done in a silk, Karen Water Lilies silk. And that colorway is called Dark Shadows. It's really, really beautiful, variegated silk colorway. So the border and the butterflies currently are done in that. And yeah, I would love also to get this piece finished fairly soon, because I'd say I'm like at least 2/3 of the way done this. I just need to finish the alphabet, the little motif at the bottom of that section, and then the skinny little border around the edge. And then this will be done. Look at this fabric. It's so beautiful. Right. So that's it for my works in progress for this video for cross stitch. For everything really. I don't have any knitting whips. I just have finishes to show you later. So before we get talking about Stitch North, I'll just talk a little bit about my plans for stitching for May. I just mentioned sort of those last 3 projects that I've been working on. Those last 3 whips, I'd like to get those finished. I'm not sure how much work I will get done on them during May, because I will have my standard 4,600 stitch goal for Need Snow Paint. I'll also have the May Stitch for Pride piece that I would like to stitch. And then on top of that, May is often celebrated on Flosstube and on Instagram by stitchers by stitching on Mirabilia pieces. So we call it Mira May. And I do have a Mirabilia whip. I have Ophelia. So I would like to work on Ophelia a little bit in May. I haven't worked on her since New Year's Eve. So I want to give Ophelia a little bit of love during Mira May. But yeah, we'll see what else I get done in addition to that. So those are my general plans for stitching in May. All right, let's talk about Stitch North. So Stitch North was in April. There are 2 weekends of Stitch North. So there's weekend 1 and weekend 2. Weekend 2 just finished this past weekend. Weekend 1 was last weekend. I actually went to weekend 1, and I I thought about recording like right after I got home, but I was very busy catching up with work after my vacation to go to Stitch North. And, I also thought it would be nice just because I can kind of show everything without spoiling anybody who was going to Weekend 2 on things that might have appeared in their swag bags. So I let it simmer for a little bit, and now I'm doing my recap. So it was just so amazing. I knew that it would be. I have never attended an in-person cross-stitch retreat before, but I have attended some virtual ones. So I attended the Jingle Ball twice this past year and the year before, so 2023 and 2022, and just had a blast doing that. So it's like a virtual version of a cross-stitch retreat. And I have attended in-person things that are like a cross-stitch retreat, but for other hobbies. So in particular, it reminds me a lot of things like music festivals and nerdy conventions. So those are two things that I really love attending. And the sort of feel at events like that is really special, because when you go to a music festival or a nerdy convention like a gaming convention, or when you go to a cross-stitch retreat, the really special thing that happens is that you are gathered in a place with a whole bunch of strangers, but they're not just strangers. They are all people that have a love and a passion for the thing that you also have a love and a passion for. And so there's this like sense of camaraderie and friendship and joy that is present, that is really special and unique to events like that. So that was definitely true at Stitch North as well, and it was a really, really great experience. So for me, the people that I was there with were sort of the most important and exciting thing about the event. So first of all, I attended the event with my mom, whose name is Andrea. I'll be putting pictures and footage. I didn't take a lot of pictures or footage, but when I do have relevant pictures or footage, I'll intersperse those. But yeah, so my mom and I attended this event together. On Wednesday, she drove up from New Brunswick, where she lives, to Halifax, where I live. Early on Thursday morning, the two of us flew together to Toronto, and we were able to check in very early at the hotel. Luckily, they were able to give us a super early check-in. So we got there really bright and early on Thursday. We were able to go to Walmart for some supplies for our room, some snacks and food and stuff. And then, started our stitchy weekend together. So it was really, really special to me to attend that kind of event with my mom. Neither of us had ever done anything like this before, but we both are very crafty and we both love cross-stitch, and so I knew that we would both have a good time together, and we really, really did. Had a good time together and a good time with our table mates as well. So before I move on to our table mates, I'll just say my mom, she's more of a monogamous stitcher. She's a multi-crafter like me, so she might have more than one craft going on at one time, but she usually only has one project of each type of craft going on. So it just so happened that leading up to Stitch North, she didn't have a cross-stitch project currently on the go. She had finished the small that she stitched for the retreat, and didn't start a new one. She bought herself a cute little kit, I think just from Michael's, and started that, and she has since completed it. She didn't quite complete it during Stitch North, but I'll put a picture here. Actually, I'll put a picture of the finished cross-stitching of this cute little piece called, I think, My Happy Place is probably what it's called. So just the cross stitching, and then I'll show a picture of that piece with the back stitching and the French knots fully finished, just because I love that comparison of what something looks like before back stitching and after back stitching. So that was what she spent most of her time on the weekend working on. And she was, I could tell, tempted to start some of the things that she purchased there, but her monogamous stitcher brain kept her on track, just stitching on her little kit. And now it's all done, and she has actually started a piece that she purchased at the retreat. And she's promised me that she'll send me update photos so I can maybe include in my videos a little update on what mom's been stitching section. So maybe you'll see that in my next video, a little update on her new start. But yeah, she, I think had a really great time. We both did. We had a great time together. And we definitely want to go again next year. And we both really enjoyed all of the ladies that we were sitting with at our table. So I will move on to talking about our table. We were table 22 at weekend 1. And our table mates were Sandra, Anna, Chris, Anne, and Charlotte. Anybody who has Instagram, etc., I will tag them in the comments below this as well, because we all sort of followed each other on Instagram, and we've exchanged email addresses and are chatting via email about trying to coordinate going to the same weekend next year. They're all just sort of really amazing women from all different age groups, and yeah, it's just, I have never heard anybody say, I went to Stitch North and there was this one person at my table who I didn't like, or I didn't really get along with my table and I just kind of felt awkward the whole time. Nobody ever says that. Everyone is like, my table was the best table. We had the best time. And I feel that way about table 22. I felt so fortunate. I felt like there were times when we were all chatting and having great conversations. There were times when we were all silent together at our table, just stitching, listening to the chatter that was going on in the rest of the room, but perfectly comfortable, not awkward at all, with our quiet stitching together. So it was just really great. They were all wonderful, wonderful women. Some of them gave very generous gifts to everybody as well, which again, I'll show off some of that later on and call everybody out as well. But yes, we were just so lucky to have been sitting at that table with those women and have met and gotten to chat with them. So really, really appreciative of that, and really, really enjoyed our table 22. So that was a lot of fun. As well, I met Danielle, who is a subscriber to Making Things with String. I didn't know that Danielle was coming, but she came up to the table and said, "Oh, are you making things with string?" And it was the first time that has ever happened to me. So Danielle, it was a real pleasure meeting you. I loved chatting with you periodically throughout the weekend. I know you had a great weekend, so I'm really, really glad. I'm glad that you came and said hi, and it was just very nice to meet you as well. In addition, on Thursday night, when Mom and I were down in the lobby stitching with a whole bunch of other stitchers who had showed up early, we met 2 additional stitchers who came and sat with us. We met Lisa from Germany, and we also met Catherine. And so, we just made these great connections with a bunch of stitchers, and that was really special and really fun. Okay, so for just kind of a summary of the event itself, I did already talk a little bit about some of this. Again, the event kind of runs officially from Friday through to midday Sunday, so morning Friday to midday Sunday. We did show up, like I said, early on Thursday to get it checked into our hotel and get some supplies. We stitched down in the lobby for a little bit in the evening, and the lobby was just full of other stitchers. Then eventually we got tired and went up to bed. on Friday, again, bright and early, we headed down to the ballroom to find our table. Mom and I were like a little bit late, so we weren't standing in the lineup waiting to enter the ballroom, because we showed up like, I don't know, 10 minutes past 8, which is when they opened those ballroom doors. But there was no wait or lineup really to get in. I think even for those people who were lined up beforehand, there's no sort of one-by-one registration process this year. They just had swag bags set up at each of the seats of each of the tables, and everyone just kind of trickled in and signed in at their table. So Mom and I walked in and we looked around for a table to sit down at. I think that there were some empty tables left, but we saw Sandra sitting by herself at a table and decided to see if there was room for us at the table, and there was. So yeah, that's how our table selection went. Other than, meeting our new table mates and getting some stitching done on Friday, we also did a little bit of shopping to try and, get a peek at the goods before all the good stuff was gone. Also Friday evening was the pizza party, so you get pizza. It was good. Pizza plus some salads and some yummy desserts. It was really great. And then in addition, on Friday was the first raffle draw. So there were 3 raffle draws where they gave away 10 prizes at each one, which I thought was really good for raffles. So there was only like a little over 200 people at the event, and there was 30 total raffle prizes. So those are pretty good chances. And I did actually win a raffle prize. So on Friday, I won, which side should I show you? I won The Art of Living Anne Banks by 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. Here's the chart. Long may we live, and happy may we be, blessed with content, and from misfortune free. Anne Banks. So this is really interesting because this is not the kind of pattern that I would typically buy for myself, but it is really interesting to have a reproduction sampler, and I think I will definitely stitch this. So it's not something that I've ever done before, but I know that it's a very sort of popular kind of pattern, a popular thing for people to stitch. And it is like a cute, quirky little pattern. So it's very symmetrical, but there's also these like little differences from side to side. There's also some like random variations in floss color throughout, which I like. I find that endearing about it. So The Art of Living by Anne Banks. It was my raffle prize win, which was very exciting. Although having won on Friday, it made the rest of the raffle draws a little bit less exciting because I knew that I couldn't win. But I was still rooting for the rest of my table mates to win something. So it was exciting in that way. But yeah, that's my raffle prize. So Saturday started off with the Smalls Exchange. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you can see what I stitched for my Smalls Exchange for Stitched North. And I will show you now what I picked up from the Smalls Exchange. It is so freaking cute. So this little pillow was the stitched piece that I got in my Smalls Exchange. This is by Cherished Stitches. It's called Virtue and Love. It is stitched on 32 count linen 2/2 with over dyed threads, and this cording is black silk bamboo fiber cording that the stitcher made themselves, and this is stitched by Jess, who is Jazzy Stitcher on Instagram, so that will be linked below. It's just a really beautifully stitched pillow and beautifully finished. It's got a cute little 2024 charm on the back of the pillow. She said she got the whole kit, so this like backing fabric came together with the pattern and the floss too, I think. But she made this cording herself. It's so soft, it's silk. Anyways, it's very, very cute. And I don't have any cute little pillows, like cross-stitch pillows like this. So I have this set up on my mantle upstairs. And I don't know, maybe I'll get a little collection of pillows and get a dough bowl going to put them in there. But for now, this is my little cross-stitch pillow. It's really, really beautiful. This also included a pack of DMC needles, which I've already snagged one from, and a couple counting pins that she also made. So really, really cute. Smalls exchange. So thank you so much, Jess. I went up to Jess and thanked her because she included her table number on the information in my little gift bag, which was very smart, and I did not think to do. So I did not get to speak to the person who got my small. Next year, I'll remember to do that. But I was really glad that I got to talk to Jess and thank her for this beautiful stitch piece. It really is immaculate. Like, the stitching is just beautiful. Love it. So yeah, that was really, really fun. I really loved the smalls exchange. I would totally do it again next year, as long as I had time, which I should. I can make time. So after the smalls exchange was done, the table that was being used for that got converted into a freebie table. People brought sort of mostly charts, but some kits and other random bits and bobs that they just wanted to give away. I didn't actually myself go to visit that freebie table just because I just feel like I have a lot of stuff already. I acquired a lot of stuff on the weekend already, and so I decided to kind of let others grab the stuff that they found interesting. But it's a cool thing that happens there. So there's just like free stuff available. My mom got a really cute little kit, like fully kitted chart from the table. So some great stuff that people, just know that they're not going to stitch or that they don't want, or maybe they've already stitched and so they're passing along the pattern. Really, really cool. And yeah, other than that, we stitched away on Saturday. People kind of come and go. They go and eat when they're hungry, come back. But something really awesome that happened on Saturday night a little bit later was somebody showed up and was walking around and showing off some beautiful chatelaine pieces that she had stitched. So unfortunately, I didn't actually grab any contact information for this amazing stitcher, but I am trying to figure out who it was. If I can figure that out, I will include that information here on the screen and or down below in the description. But she is another monogamous stitcher who stitches these beautiful, huge chatelaine pieces, and it really made me want to look into purchasing and starting a chatelaine piece at some point in the future. I know that they do have like smaller chatelaine pieces, so maybe that's something to look into. But I'd never seen one of those stitched in person before, and they're so beautiful and intricate, and so it was just like a work of art. Really, really cool to see. So Sunday, again, like I said, was the half day, and there was another raffle draw as there was on Saturday, and yeah, otherwise we just kind of stitched away on Saturday until the event ended. Mom and I actually weren't flying out back home until Monday afternoon. So we spent the rest of the day on Sunday just kind of hanging out at the hotel, watching some shows on Netflix and stitching some more. I was actually knitting a lot on a pair of socks for Sock Madness during Stitch North as well. So like in the evenings I would eventually switch over to knitting on my socks a bit. I'll show those to you in a little bit. So that's sort of a summary, after after Sunday, on Monday, Mom and I, hung out at the airport and flew back to Halifax. Mom drove back to New Brunswick the day after, and that was the sort of story of Stitch North. Okay, so let me show you all of the stuff. There's sort of 3 categories of stuff that I accumulated at Stitch North. There was the swag bag, which everybody got one of these. There's some randomness in what you get in your swag bag, so not all of the patterns are exactly the same, for example, but generally it's the same kind of stuff in each bag. So I'll show you what was in my swag bag. I'll also show you sort of the gifts that I received throughout the weekend. 2 of those you've already seen, so the door prize and my smalls exchange, but I'll show you some other little knickknacks that I was given by some of my table mates, by my mom, and just by people who were random, you know, kind of going around and giving little tokens to everybody. And also I purchased some items, so I will show you the stuff that I purchased as well. Okay, let's start with swag bag. This is in no particular order. All right. Got this cute little needle minder from Rocky Mountain Needle Minders. This is cute because it's a super tiny little needle minder. Most needle minders are bigger than this. And so if you've got a small little project and you just need like a light little needle minder, this is perfect. Rocky Mountain Needle Minders was vending at the event, and they had all kinds of needle minders for sale as well. We got another needle minder. This one is a Stitch North needle minder. This one is a little bit chunkier and heavy, but it is very beautiful. I love the design. This is sort of the logo for the event this year. So beautiful Stitch North needle minder in everybody's swag bag. Another thing that we got was a lanyard for a name tag, as well as a little piece of linen and a chart to stitch a name tag with. I decided to just stitch my name and leave it at that, but there is sort of like a border that goes around this, and Stitch North 2024, I think. There's a little heart underneath it. I had other stitching plans for the weekend, but I did want to have my name tag, so I just stitched my name with the alphabet that came on the back of that chart and shoved it in here. I do plan to eventually stitch the rest of this, and this will be like a name tag that I can bring with me to future Stitch North events that I attend, and or other retreats if I attend other retreats. A nice hand-stitched name tag. This is stitched with Roxy Floss Co. I have it right here. Roxy Floss Co. Pink 182, which I've already mentioned in this video because I used it to stitch. My Stitch for Pride for this month. But this was a skein of floss that also came in the swag bag. So there were a few different colors that we saw people getting. There was this one, there was Annie, which is sort of a golden mustardy yellow brown color, which spoilers, you'll see one of those later as well. And there was a blue as well. Was that it? Those 3 colors? Anyways, so I got Pink 182. Let's leave that. We got this cute little needle tin from Pastime Pieces. Doesn't want to focus. So a little needle tin from Pastime Pieces. It's got a magnet in there plus a little needle. I do have a tin like this already, but I'm thinking that I might try and turn this into a little retreat supplies kit. So I might try and find like a super teeny tiny pair of scissors that can fit in here, super teeny tiny pair of tweezers, maybe a measuring tape, whatever other little tools I think might be necessary, and have this super tiny little tin, if I can fit all of that in here. But yeah, very cute. Always handy. The sewing shop put in some little zipper pulls or scissor fobs or whatever you want to call that. This one is a little snowman. Do you want to focus, please? There we go. This one's a little snowman. We got a little packet from Monkey and Mouse. There's a little sticker in here that says I survived Stitch North. A little measuring tape and some floss drops. We also got a cute little floss bed from Gamma's Treasures with some maple leaf fabric to represent Canada. There's a little magnet underneath here to hold your needles. You can see I'm holding a needle because I have been using this quite a lot. They were also vending at the event. I didn't get anything from them. Probably a great place to look for a grime guard, but I missed that. Received from Canadian Stitchery a Stitch Your Own Name Badge kit with a wooden name badge template and a piece of felt to affix to the back of it. So not sure what I will do with this yet, but it's cute. It's like real wood. I believe they also had a booth where they were selling little kits of various little patterns on wooden pieces as well. So Stitch Toolbox provided these finished project cards, so you can kind of paste these on the back of your finished works. It includes a field for who the piece was stitched by, when it was stitched, what the designer or the chart is, the fabric, and any notes. I don't have anything like this, so that's really cool. And Stitch Toolbox is actually Anna, who was one of my table mates. So she's got an Etsy shop called Stitch Toolbox. And yeah, all her information will be linked below. She's got some beautiful stuff, including some more things that you will see later on. We received a little notebook from I Can Sew Make That. Here's the info for I Can Sew Make That. Ugh, I am terrible at getting this stuff to focus. I Can Sew Make That. Just a little ruled notebook. Never can have enough of these. We got this tiny modernist pattern, Always Time for Tea. This is from the Treenway Silks Tea Time palette, so I believe that there's sort of a little packet of floss that you can get to stitch a bunch of different patterns. But I love Tiny Modernist. Again, you'll see some more Tiny Modernist later on. This is a really cute little tea-themed cross-stitch pattern with some bunnies, so very cute. There's also a DMC and Anchor floss list or conversion in here if you don't want to use that Treenway Silks pack. Bryn and Nettle was there as a vendor as well, and they gave a little kit for everyone to stitch. I'm not going to show the pattern itself, but it is the Quirky Quaker Lobster. So it's my understanding that there's sort of a different Quirky Quaker animal for each weekend of Stitch North. At their booth, you could buy the little kits from previous Stitch North weekends, which is really cool. I freaking love the lobster. My uncle was a lobster fisherman, and I love eating lobster, so love this little pattern. I can't wait to stitch it. We got a little piece of Aida on which to stitch it. It looks like it might be 16 or 18 count Aida, and a little needle. And we also got a little card, a 10-yard card of 2 Bryn and Nettle threads to stitch that with. So this sort of light speckled pink and darker sort of corally color. So those are the two colors that this is meant to be stitched with. And this is a really great example of what Brin & Nettle floss looks like. Really unique dyeing method for floss. It's actually quite similar to speckled hand-dyed yarn. I've seen it a lot, this sort of speckling technique in yarn, but not very often in cross-stitch floss. So you'll see later that I was quite enamored by their dyeing techniques, and so this is not the only Brin & Nettle floss that I ended up with, but this is a really nice inclusion in our swag bags. Okay, nearing the end of the swag bag, we also received a pattern from Shakespeare's Peddler. Mine was Antique Cups and Spoons, so another tea-themed pattern. I think this is really cute. You'll see later that I have some fabric and floss that I think that I got at the event that I think I will end up stitching this with. So that's really cute little pattern. This is part of a series of patterns. And I believe my mom got the scissors pattern in her kit, so I don't know if all of these were, or no wait, I think she got the keys. Anyways, some of these may have been other options in the swag bags. We also got this pattern. It's called Weaving a Dream of My Own. It's the pattern for this cross-stitch piece here. On the bag, this is from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. Pretty cool. And then we also got, I think I'm going to maybe just hold this way back here, but a butterfly pattern from Northern Pine Designs. I don't want to show it up too closely because it's just the actual pattern, but they also had a booth, and their pieces are really beautiful. A lot of like specialty stitches, specialty floss and beads, really intricate, beautiful stuff. So we'll see if I ever kind of muster up the courage to give that a try, but I'm sure it would turn out to be a really beautiful butterfly. Okay, I think that's it for the swag bag. So let me get this stuff out of the way and we'll move on to something else. All right, next I would like to talk gifts. So first I'm gonna start off with the big one that you've been kind of peeking in the background of the video this whole time. This is a project bag that was sewn by Chris, one of the women who was sitting at table 22 with us. She sewed a project bag for every single one of us. It's a really beautiful, well-made project bag. Beautiful lining in the middle here, and it's got some books on it. She had a whole bunch of different ones and just allowed us to kind of pick which one we wanted. So that was really kind of her. It's a beautiful gift. Everybody knows that cross stitchers love project bags, and you'll know that if you've watched my videos before, you might know that I actually before this did not have very many project bags. I had 2 proper fabric project bags before this. I love them, but I don't prioritize buying them very frequently. So I love supporting people who, craft things on their own. But a project bag isn't strictly something that I need for every single one of my projects. So it's not something that I often spend money on. But I do love them. They're beautiful. And so I was really blown away by this, and I just think it's like a really nice, kind table gift to have made for everybody at our table. So Chris, this is amazing. I love it. I don't have a project in here yet. It's got all my other gifts, so maybe in my next video I'll have a project that lives in this bag and you'll see it again, and I'll show you that. Okay, let's talk about the other things that were given to me. This is another biggie. It is a modern folk embroidery chart called How Doth the Little Busy Bee, a Beekeeper's Pincushion. And this was gifted to me by my mom. I think it's technically supposed to be a birthday gift. My birthday's not until September, but I was waiting with her in line when she purchased it. And so, you know, kind of spoiled the surprise that way. So she let me have it right away. We had been browsing through, there's sort of a catalog on each of the tables of all of the different patterns available through Evertote. And I must have stated how pretty I thought this one was because she decided to get it for me. And this is really meaningful for me. I think, you know, I've purchased bee patterns before and maybe mentioned this, but the bees remind me of my grandparents, my nanny and grampy, and in particular my grampy, who for a while was keeping bees. And, you know, he was bringing like honey and wax to us from the bees that he was keeping. And so it makes me think of him, you know, love him and my nanny. And I will show you later that I do have supplies ready to stitch this from Stitch North, I believe. Okay, cute, very cute pattern. Here's another table gift. So these were made and given to us by Anne. So this beautiful little hand stitched piece. Maybe you can keep needles in here. And then on this is also sort of a floss ring, one of these flexible floss rings to add your floss to. So again, highly appreciative of the handmade beautiful gifts. Some cute fabrics stitched together by Anne. Thank you, Anne. I love this. Let's see. Another table gift. This one is from Anna from Stitch Toolbox. So this is a needle minder from her shop. It's wooden, very cute, and it says Stitch Queen. So love that. Another needle minder for my collection. Thank you, Anna. And I think that's it for table gifts. So I'll just go over some of the other random things that I picked up. So some of these things people were walking around handing out, and some of them I received when I was walking around handing out my own. I made little business card floss drops that I was handing out to people, and on Sunday I kind of went around and kind of handed them out to everybody. So this is a very cute little needle minder that I received from somebody when I was doing that. It's actually got a little pin on the back as well, but has also been turned into a needle minder, and it's a little astronaut bear, so that's cute. I visited Rai Magai's table, and he gave me one of these cute little counting pins that he made. So very cute in this little tube. We also have a counting pin, or actually this might be like a Frogger from Larney's Blarneys. It's a little blunt-tipped needle with sort of a fob made out of beads attached to the end. It's really nice, quite hefty, heavy, and then there's a floss drop in there as well. So it looks like Larney's Blarneys is actually from Brampton. Cute. I have a bunch of floss drops here from Lisa of Forest Steady Stitching. When I was handing out my floss drops, she traded me with these. Another little set of floss drops. These are not labeled as to who gave them out, but somebody was just walking around handing them out. Some cute little floss drops, a little set. So here is a couple floss rings, which were handed out by Mama Jack Makes. Crazy Band Lady stitches. Gave out some stickers and a little like maple leaf progress keeper. A flower sticker. Some butterfly stickers. I got a little sticker from My Crazy Life, another YouTube channel. This floss shop is actually really interesting. It's from Buggy D Creations on Etsy. And these were made from old cross-stitch charts. So you can see that the background is an old cross-stitch chart. So love that. Environmentally friendly, reduce, reuse, recycle. So that's great. All right, that's it for the little gifties that I received. So I'm going to put this stuff away. We'll come back and I'll show you the stuff that I bought. All right, first up is a couple bags. These are from Stitch Toolbox, aka Anna, who is at my table. I picked these because of the fabrics that she used, but I picked this one in particular because it is a smaller bag. So you'll see a little spoiler back there. I've got another big project bag. Chris's bag is another big project bag, and the other two project bags that I had were big project bags. Now I think, I call them big. They're the standard size for project bags that people use, but I really like having a nice small project bag. For example, this is currently what I keep my black butterfly sampler from Shaded Stitchery in. So it's very easy for me to toss this into my purse and take it with me places. So that's why I like a smaller bag. For a small project that doesn't have a big Q-snap or anything attached to it or a big pattern. Because often I don't have the hard copy of the pattern in the project. I have a working copy that I can fold up and mark up. So love this fabric. And decided to buy this bag from Stitch Toolbox. There's what the lining looks like. I also got a thread conditioner from Stitch Toolbox. So this is just a beeswax thread conditioner. This isn't something that I've ever had before, so I wanted to try it out, and they were really affordable. She put some lavender in there, so it smells really nice. All right, this other bag contains all the rest of the stuff that I purchased. Again, this is from Anna, Stitch Toolbox. Look at these succulents, so cute. The inside fabric on this one is just like a cream color. All right, so let's see, what else did I purchase? So like I said, Tiny Modernist was there. I browsed through her little booth and I found the garden hare and decided to purchase this beautiful little chart. It's got a bunny and mushrooms and it's so cute. It's actually kind of funny because I bought this piece and later on Sunday, I believe, my husband sent me a little video of a rabbit in our backyard. We've never seen a rabbit in our backyard before, but we had a little garden hare in our backyard garden just after I purchased this cute little chart. So interesting. All right, which order do I do this? Let's do my Evertote purchases. Okay, so I wanted to buy one fully kitted up project for myself. That was sort of my goal of like get things that I wanted to buy, one fully kitted up project. So I purchased Abalonia's Apple Tree. This is a chart by the Artsy Housewife. And it is an extremely cute fox named Abalonia and her apple tree, and there's a moon and some stars, and I absolutely love this. This is a new release as of market this year, and it's been catching my eye every single time I see it. There's a lot of artsy housewife patterns that I really, really love, but this one keeps catching my eye, and this is also one that I haven't seen many other people purchase, so I know that I won't be like watching a bunch of people stitch it. So yeah, I liked that. And I bought this with the floss pack, so let me get these out and show them to you. So this is a Roxy Flossco conversion. There's a lot of colors. Here they are. A lot of like dark browns and greens, but also some really lovely bright reds. Yep. So that, and I bought a fat quarter of 36 count Panettone linen to go with that piece. So that's what I'll be stitching on. My lighting is getting a little bit dark now. But let's do a little floss toss here. That'll be the piece. So that is fully kitted up and ready to go. No idea when I'll be starting it because like I said, I kind of want to finish a few things before I get to some new starts. But this is high up on the list of things that I would love to start soon. All right, what else did I get? From Evertoad, I also got another piece of fabric. This is a one-of-a-kind. I wish my lighting was better because this is actually really, really stunning. Dark piece of fabric. Darker, it's not super dark, but hopefully you can see there's some like reddish maroon in here, some bluey gray, and it's very, very, very pretty. So my plan for this, first of all, is to stitch that Beekeeper's pin cushion on it. I purchased some floss for that purpose. I got 2 skeins of Brin & Nettle Lassie Moggs. This is a really interesting floss. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very well, but it's sort of a goldy mustard, but it also has some like dusty rose pink in it. So I think that this will go well on this. We'll give it a try anyway. So that's the plan for the Beekeeper's pin cushion. I also would like to use this fabric, another part of that fat quarter, and this Lunasaw floss from Brin & Nettle. I want to show how variegated it is. So it's like bright pink and purple at one end and then very muted and speckled down at the bottom. This will be for that Teacups Shakespeare's Peddler piece on this fabric. Back to Roxy Floss. I got a skein of Annie, another sort of golden, sort of light brown color. This is to replace my Weeks Dye Works Pecan for my gingerbread house ornament that I'm stitching. And I got some more Brin & Nettle floss. I got the Man in the Mountain This is sort of a light blue with a whole bunch of different speckled colors in it. Really, really pretty. Not sure what this is for. It's just awesome, so I got it. Then I got 4 skeins of Wreck House from Bryn & Nettle. This is sort of a beautiful tealy blue. And this is to go with another piece of fabric I bought. This is called Euphoria by Pastime Pieces. It's a very sort of watery, sort of light blue with some purplish modeling in it. The plan is to stitch a Ink Circles Water Dragon chart with these two. I'm going to be stitching that sometime soon with my friend Judith. And that's it. All right, let me put this purchase stuff away. That's it for Stitch North. That's it. That's all the stuff I got. That's like how it went. It was an amazing experience. We're already like ready to book for next year. And something, yeah, that's interesting is that booking of next year is just going to open up to the masses instead of getting priority registration for those who were in attendance. So a good thing to keep your eye on if you are interested in Stitch North. All right, so I'll put this stuff away and we'll talk about knitting very briefly. So there have been 2 rounds of Sock Madness since my last video. I'm going to show you the most recent socks first though. So I just finished this week the Gathering socks. So this pattern is called the Gathering socks. It's available on Ravelry if you're interested. And here is what it looks like. It's a really, really interesting pattern. And as you can see, I've actually knit a pair of fraternal socks, they call them. So they're fraternal twins, not identical twins. So it's the same 3 yarns, but I've alternated which yarn was the main color and which yarns were the contrasting color. It's got a whole bunch of different techniques in it. So obviously there's some cabling going on the foot of the sock. There is a really intricate heel going on back here, and it's not your typical slip one, knit one heel. In addition to kind of alternating the colors that you're using every 2 rounds. There's some interestingness to the construction there. There is a ruching motif on the back of the sock. There are these welts, they're called, along the top of the sock here. This is a dropped hem cuff. So that's interesting. And then these little accents here are actually embroidered stitches onto the sock. So, oh, and also like the heel decrease was done at the middle of the bottom of the foot instead of along the sides of the gusset the way it typically is. So really, really a lot of unique construction aspects to these socks. And they took me a lot longer to knit than I thought they would. So for the first few rounds, I was able to knit the entire pair of socks in Sock Madness in like 5 or 6 days. But these socks took me, I think, like 8 or 9 days to knit. And, you know, that worried me because there were only 12 spots available in this round of Sock Madness. And last round, I was like the last person or one of the last ones to qualify from my team. So I thought for sure I wasn't going to get in, but I think like the difficulty of these socks maybe, or it just so happened that, you know, enough people on my team were not able to have the time to knit. Anyway, I managed to snag the last spot, and so I qualified for the next round, the penultimate round, I think. I think there's only 2 rounds left. So we'll see when that starts. I think this Wednesday will have been 2 weeks since the round began for these, and so around there the next round will start. So these are very, very cool. They fit me, and they were a lot of work. So now let me show you the other pair of socks from the round before this. I'm just gonna put them on the blockers. All right, so these socks, the blockers are a little bit small for them, but it works. These socks are called Nuppy, and they're also really, really interesting socks. So the cuff is a pretty standard knit one, purl one through, or knit one through back loop, purl one ribbing, but then what we have here is a lace panel overlaid on top of some stockinette knitting in the main color. So this main yarn is like a Ancient Arts yarn fingering weight, and then this yarn is a lace weight yarn. And you kind of, it's a very interesting construction as well. It sounded like it was going to be really complicated. It really wasn't too bad to execute. The most complicated thing in these socks are these stitches in the middle of the little lace sections. Those are the nuppies for which the pattern is named. They're a little bit difficult to execute. But yeah, otherwise, once you get past this part, it was just sort of a beautiful, sort of lacy sock. And yeah, I didn't bring with me the information for the yarns that I used for either of these pairs of socks, so if you are interested, just leave me a comment below and I can scrounge that up and let you know. But I do know that this is an Ancient Arts colorway. And this is another hand-dyed lace yarn. I've got a lot of this left over because I bought a giant skein of lace yarn just for this tiny little lace panel. So yeah, so that's Sock Madness. I've been really enjoying Sock Madness. I can't believe I made it into the next round, and I am excited to see what the next round's pattern is. I'm excited to give it a try. Not super hopeful in my chances at qualifying for the next round. There's only going to be 7 spots moving forward this next time. So yeah, I think that's about all that I have for today. It's obviously quite a bit of a longer video than usual with all that Stitch North chatter. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching and sticking through it. I really appreciate you, and hopefully I will see you again soon, maybe in my next video. Bye for now.